I could also briefly talk about GitHub reviews if you're nobody wants to learn.
They have separate
Hackers, let's hear it! Welcome to the Launch-a-thon! Make your way upstairs. Get a space where you can watch. The legendary Alex Readman will be giving us a talk on how to tweet storm your launches today. Kyle will be giving us $3,000 in consulting's worth of how to get #1 on Product Hunt. He's used it to great effect, so okay, some quick context on the event. So the intention, I'll cut this out. If you take a talk somewhere else. So the intention of this event is an experiment in co-launching worthwhile projects. So the moment where you post on Hacker News and simultaneously 30 people upvote your Hacker News post, putting you on the front page in front of tens of thousands, potentially hundreds of thousands of developers for your project, is an experience that we can just create. Similar story for Twitter. The question is, can we manufacture the virality of the projects that we have? And so we're going to spend the day taking our intro and incomplete projects, shoring them up, creating a high-quality video of you describing what it is that your project does, creating compelling copy, making sure that you run it by a few of your hacker friends to make sure that they endorse it or upvote it, think it's great. And once your project is ready for launch, decide on which platforms you'll launch, and make sure that all of the images are in the right place, the text is appropriately set up, all the links are functional before demos. Demos are going to be very different, so we're going to double the amount of time we typically have for demos. And during the demos, you will be very active. You'll be responding on comment threads with the ideas that you have about the thing that was presented. And so every person's demo will be a bit longer, something like 8 to 10 minutes, in which they launch on whatever platforms they're interested in, and the other hackers comment with genuine, high quality, sort of conversational topics of interest around their launch project. Any questions about the intentions? Cool. So I guess pragmatics, the bathroom's here. There's food in the back if you want to eat while people are talking. This floor and the floors below it are for hacking. Do not go upstairs because people live up there. And our speakers for the day will be Alex on Twitter, we have Kyle on Product Hunt, and Rohan will give a talk on creating a phenomenal Readme markdown file. So with that, let's hear it for Alex.
Take a second.
Oh, you need some time?
Yeah, I go first.
Okay, Kyle can go first.
Sure.
Hi everyone, I'm Kyle. Yeah, so I've got a kind of ad hoc talk here with some notes that I'll go through, but first off, question is who here has done a product hunt launch? Okay, surprising people have done a product hunt launch. Okay, that's good. I was gonna ask who here has gotten product of the day of the two of you? No? Okay, good. I was so first thing I want to test was is somebody in here I do this every week. You should just give a talk in that case. But context for me is I was living in Mexico. I was doing the whole indie hacker launch a bunch of stuff thing for a while, and was very broke. I spent about $3,000 on consulting on how to win Product Hunt, and the product I launched, it was called Audio Read. I got product of the day, product of the week, product of the month, and #4 product of the year. And so it's good. There's obviously a lot of work, my co-founder, Eric Jung, some of you might know him, we worked on this. There's a lot of work that goes into making that happen, so it's not just for myself, but the product hunt launch cost about $3,000 in consulting and then led to a more than 50K in revenue that we didn't even have to work for on the marketing front. We had people with millions of subs making videos about us. It got hundreds or millions of impressions, tens of thousands of active users. And even to this day, multiple years later, I think 3 years later, I still have people messaging me complaints about the product. I'm not even working on it. So it's been an incredible source of evergreen content. It was done in our first couple weeks of working on it. It was like probably one of the best moves. And what it cost was one very manic day of like winning Product Hunt. So I'm going to be talking about how to do that because I think you can actually do this repeatedly. I think what people underestimate is that to win this, you're up against people like our team that are like really trying to win on that. And it's not as much of an accident as some may think. Like you don't just share a link and it pops off. That may happen, but I'm going to show you how you can make it not an accident. So, so the thing I'll talk through first, is obviously product. The biggest point I'd give here is, or maybe I'll ask you, how many of you like read Product Hunt or like familiar with Product Hunt as a media? Okay, good. Just want to like double check. People aren't like, I don't even know what this guy's talking about. All right. Product Hunt is for consumer tech nerds, right? It is for people that want to log in, typically on a phone, majority is on mobile, and they're like looking at the latest thing. They want to be able to tinker with stuff. The biggest mistake I see people make is they launch like a B2B app that is like a sales page or something that is supposed to turn into like a Teams product, but they send it to a bunch of indie hackers. What you want to do is you want to have, firstly, your product be a consumer-facing aspect of it, and I can give a couple examples. So for example, there was a VC fund that even launched on Product Hunt that did really well, and you might have remembered this, they instead of saying, we launched a fund and showing like a landing page, they made an app that was like, we raised 20 mil, now you can help us spend the money, and they made an app saying, which companies do you want to burn money on, and like they made this like meme game, and it like, people loved it, it was hilarious, but what it did is it drew attraction to the fact that they raised a lot of money, here's a bunch of companies they did back, and it was basically like, here's our portfolio, how much LaCroix do you want to buy for each of our startups? Like, it was like funny, it showed that they're a funny team, they're not too serious, it got a lot of attention, right? So that was a VC fund, it's not even a product. Another is, there was a really good example of this like workplace product that I think was called Kona. They did really well on Product Hunt. They are like a burnout prevention product, and they're this whole platform. They have this a lot of work. It's like, it's like this kind of landing page where you're like, oh, how to prevent burnout for your SaaS teams. And you see this on a Product Hunt, you'd be like, why do I give a shit? But what they did is they made this like very small Slack bot that was part of the Kona platform, that you could literally see it and be like, install a bot that helps run your one-on-ones or checks how you're doing every day, like a mental health bot. And they like I don't think they were like number one. Ironically, we beat them. So, but they were really competitive. They did really well on the launch. It's like an example of taking a business-facing product. So, and for the product I was doing,
Was it a demo of this Slack bot?
yeah, you can install it. So what you ideally want is somebody sees your listing and they want to think as an individual, like as me, I can do something useful with this without asking for permission. And it's really simple when you think of the math, right? If the money isn't selling to enterprises or larger businesses, but there's less managers reading Product Hunt than there are people, right? So managers are a subset. So you want to sell to the largest group. Our product was, it was called Audio Read. It lets you turn websites into audio and listen to them as a podcast. That was it. So it was a Chrome extension. You click it, you install the Chrome extension, you go to a website, you click button, and then it turns it into audio. That was all. And then it would put it in whatever podcast app you want. And so we were lucky that it was a consumer-facing thing, but the point I'm making is you don't have to have a consumer product. You could do this. The second thing I'll mention here, which I'm not going to belabor this because there's tons of articles that I think already talk about this, which is like how to get your content right. All I'll say here is like the content matters. So like it's kind of, you want to be really like meticulous about literally like thumbnail, headline, every image used in the slide, like the colors you're using. For example, we used, they stopped allowing this, but we used like animated thumbnail because it catches the eye better than static. Like this is like what you're competing against. Like it's really meticulous. We have like there's a story about the founding team. There's things that people like relate to. I'm not gonna like talk through all this because like again, there's tons of indie hackers that have really done this well. I would say look at the top product of the day, product of the week, product of the month for like 10 examples. Fine tune yourself on like what do the images look like, and don't underuse that space. Like so the worst mistake I see people use, they launch and they think my product's great. It's obviously what people need, but like don't invest enough in that content, and it's like really big miss out. Okay, so now I'm gonna assume that you have all that ready.
What is the best resource on this? So there are a lot of articles.
Yeah, I would like, honestly, there's like, ironically, people have even done Product Hunt launches about how to do good launches. Like, I can follow up with a couple. There's so many that I didn't even like yeah, if you Google search like how to make good product hunt slides, thumbnails, like there's people that charge for this. Like, but yeah, the shtick is like you want to use all the content. It's similar to landing page design. The landing pages are kind of abstrusely long, and so the reason for that is because you might think you're being concise, but actually you want to keep adding stuff until the person's bought in. Like if they keep looking at your slides because they're not bought in yet, they're like still curious, and you want to hit like, yeah, like so in Product Hunt you'll have all these slide options. You want to use each of them with something that like really hits, like social proof. Why is this useful for you? Why do you have to show, like, why is it super easy to, like, if you click upvote, like, because you're basically trying to tell them a story of like, you should click that upvote button even before you try it. And you should be sharing this link in your Slack channel with your friends. That's like what you want, because people don't have time to like, you know, they're not gonna open Product Hunt, see your thing and be like, I will stop everything I'm doing to spend 30 minutes onboarding to your tool. That's not how it works, right? Even the demo on your page, people I think overinvest in like the actual like, there's the product experience, which totally matters from the product side, but it doesn't affect the Product Hunt launch as much. Like people share your thing before they even use it, and people actually comment saying they hate it before they even use it. It's like, so like, and you know this because as a founder, you see the usage, right? Like you see who went to the landing page, and you're like, 10% of y'all are going to my landing page, and there's like 50% of you are commenting on it. What is going on? So there's just like a couple insights there, but yeah, to save time. Okay, so. Did that just a question? I can answer more about any details, but assume you have this, like you have a really good set of resources, you have a consumer-facing product, the tagline. Here's the big one, it's like when to launch, how to launch. Okay, so from what I've seen, this is just empirical. If anyone has a counterpoint, let me know, but big teams with distribution and YC typically do early in the week, Monday and Tuesday. The reason is because it gets them more attention through weekdays, so they can get product of the week. That's important because Product Hunt does a daily newsletter, a weekly newsletter, and like monthly and so on. And being in this newsletter means you get tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of impressions. So you want to be getting more likes. And so there's this weird game theory where, say it's, you know, never launch Sunday first day, like that's dumb. Like don't launch on the weekend when people aren't around. Like, so you're picking a weekday and you're saying, okay, well now I want most likes, but you have this problem. Whereas if you're really balling out, you're like a YC company, you have like 10K users already, sure, target Monday. This is what we did, and we got lucky. But there's also the risk that like a Devin or whatever GPT thing is gonna launch by like Adobe's gonna launch their new thing, and you're just like, damn it, like now you're wrecked. And so I would recommend, typically I think a Wednesday is a really good day because you get to see those first couple days when most of them race. And then you can look at what you're competing with, and if you're like, okay, there's probably not going to be another bang-in launch, and you still have enough days to like build up cred. But yeah, the other, like, so that's basically if you don't have a bunch of users and stuff, I would like target a Wednesday. If you have distribution and you're really going to go in on it and follow the tips I'll mention here, I'd do a Monday. I would avoid Tuesday. Tuesday is dumb because you miss out on that first day, but you're still competing with like YC companies, which usually like have these little pods that are like optimizing their launches, like they're planning around when each other launch. Yeah, so you just want to be aware of that. Another tip is there's sometimes this pre-launch feature on Product Hunt that'll tell you when products are coming up. If you see one that's like scheduled a month out, it's like it's gonna drop on this day, just like be really aware that like, yeah, you basically don't want to compete with it. And then the other is like, yeah, if you're waiting until Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday hit, you know, Devin's dropped, there's like everyone's talking about some new model, like just wait a week, it's probably better because again, once you launch, there's this moment where if you get product of the day, week and month, you're just gonna print users for like 2 years. It's really great. So I'm trying to set you up to do that, and like it's hard to launch the exact same thing multiple times. Like you can tweak on it, but like yeah, there's something good, really good about that. So anyway, that's the tip there. Now time of the day. You want to do it right after midnight, but not exactly midnight. So anyone here who's done like the Product Hunt game knows this. Okay, so the reason why you do close to midnight is you want to do it when the clock resets and there's basically there's no products on the page, and that's when people start getting upvotes. The reason you don't do exactly at midnight is because there's a bot detection thing that will look for people that are there's people that auto post and then crank up upvotes. And so what will happen is you'll typically be up at midnight, Be aware that it might not be midnight this time. I think PST it is, but I was in like Mexico for context, and it was like 2 a.m. us. You want to do like 12:15, 12:30, and what's going to happen is you're going to be sitting there kind of sweating because you're going to see all these products launched and start getting like 100 likes, and you're gonna be like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Like I got to launch now, and you realize like these are bots. They're being dumb. No one's awake. And so you can even tell by looking at the comments that usually it's folks from like India and stuff. Like those are like the legit product hunters that are up at that time. But when you see all these like people from like Illinois and stuff commenting, you're like, why are you, like, you're not up at like midnight writing this 3-paragraph thing about how great the product is. Like, so chill for a bit, launch then, you don't get blocked. Right, and you just like, yeah, you don't get stuck in this weird flurry. And now the target, now you basically have this goal. Is I would almost plan to do an all-nighter on this. That's what we did. Your target is around the 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. This is like the crux. I'll show a photo here, but your goal is by 8 to 9 in the morning, you want to be in the top 5. The reason for that is when you open Product Hunt on mobile, it shows the top 5 listings, only the top 5, and then it shows an ad as the 6th. And you can, it's kind of hard to see from the distance, but the top 5 items have 300, 200, 260. And if you move to the 6th, just one below, it's 145. So there's a cut of more than 50% to go from 5th to 6th place because you're below the fold. Yeah. And most people open Product Hunt, they see that and they don't even scroll. Like they're already done engaging because people aren't like meticulous. They're actually just like there's like a dopamine hit. They're like, oh cool, yeah, nice. And it drops off very quick to sub 60, whatever, below the fold. You want to be below the fold above the fold, because by around 8 or 9, they start writing the newsletter. I think the daily newsletter is automated. And so it'll literally be like, oh, you're in top 5. You're going to show up in that email with your logo. And that's going to go out to like 300K people. Or it might be less, it might be like 50 to 100K. I believe there's different subscriptions of like people that want only the weekly updates, people that want daily. But if you're in this position, this is like spikes you up for the rest of the day. You'll get a couple thousand impressions to your landing page, a lot of attention. And now there's this kind of funny effect that happens, which is like every one of these steps got way easier. So we got into this fold. We were like, oh, we have thousands of people coming in. Cool. There's a few things we kept doing, which I'll tell you about. But like we were like, I would say 70% of our product of the day was already locked in. Like we were already like 70% guaranteed to have product of the day. We pushed that extra 30, which I'll tell you about. And then what happened is when you get product of the day, imagine now you're at that checkpoint, product of the day. You'll follow a couple tips I'll give you here to like keep getting consistent likes in the next days. Because I think what they do is they check to see if you only got likes on one day and then you get none the next. There's like a filter. Like imagine as a dev, you're like, how many people are faking launches and they have nobody engaging versus Product Hunt wants to see consistent engagement. So if you have the next few days, people are still liking you, then you'll get, I think this is not automated. They actually hand select some of them. And because I think for context for ours, like we got picked as product of the week, but we didn't have the most votes. So we were like, oh, we're out of luck. We just kept chugging along because we were actually building this thing. And then we got nominated as like #1 product of the week. And we're like, yo, what the hell? Like we weren't winning. So they actually look through and they see who's actually got the best reviews, now product of the week, this is like where we were set because that got in another newsletter update. I think at that point it was like 10K plus people came in. Now YouTubers, a YouTuber with like, I think it was like 2 million, 3 million subs made a video about like, check out this new tool, audio read stuff. I didn't know this guy. And we were like, oh shit, like now people are talking about it. Product of the month happened, product of the year, like top 4 was like not even we weren't thinking about it anymore. We were done the launch. So I'm showing you that there's this like exponential drop, like from like the day to the week. And you only have about like 1 to 3 days where you have to really care and it pays off so much. Like I said, even now, like people are still coming in. So I'll talk on this point here of like, how do you actually get the likes? This is where a lot of the questions are typically. Because they're like, oh, like I need to get people to like it, but I don't want to get blocked and scammed and like what's allowed, what's not. So I'll just like, I paid hundreds of dollars for consulting on how to do this and I'll just like tell you that. So let me see here. Basically, what you want to do, you want a pod of people. If you already have customers, you want to have a group of people that know ahead of time that you're about to do a launch. You want to tell them a couple weeks in advance to make a Product Hunt account now. to be ready, because a lot of, say you have 1,000 users and none of them know Product Hunt, say we're launching in a couple weeks, can you make an account now and like check out Product Hunt, see if you enjoy the tool, because in a couple weeks we're going to be doing this launch and would love support. The reason for this is, so there's this, here's like the big misconception is people think that sharing your Product Hunt link on the day is bad. It's actually okay. I think we actually talked directly with the Product Hunt founder in DMs about this, or it was like somebody at Product Hunt being like, is this okay? Because we were like, we want to win. And he's like, yeah, it's fine to share your link for Product Hunt. The issue is when you have people upvote you that are fake accounts, or like made their account on the same day, or they've shown up to Product Hunt, the only thing they did is logged in and upvote your post. That's way more fishy than blasting your link to communities, right? Product Hunt wants their brand in the public. So this is the big misconception is teams usually say, oh, I can't share my link, and they lose that. Or they say, okay, I won't share my link, but I'll just like, I'll make a bunch of accounts and like tell my friends to go to Product Hunt, just load the loading page and then click upvote on my thing. And like, there's all these clever ways, like you think you're being smart, but like, they just have a couple checks that are like, did an account load Product Hunt, and immediately make a beeline for your upvote on the third item and then log out. It's like, yeah, so you'll get dinged for that. They wait long enough where they ghost block you. So you'll get all the upvotes, you think you're doing well, and then right before the end of the day, they'll cut like half of the upvotes out. So yeah, so the trick is, yeah, what we did is we had a bunch of people ready, like people that were hacking on the product. And then we hired a couple people, like cheap marketing dev agency type people that were like, hey, can you just help talk about our product everywhere? Can you like write a blog post about it? Can you like talk about it on Reddit? Just like shill it basically. This is like allowed, like because this is marketing, right? You're allowed to pay people to talk about your product. You're not allowed to pay people to upvote your product or pay people to ask people to upvote. But you're allowed to be like, just bring this into the world. Like we actually think this is useful. So we spent, I think about $500 on people doing that. Might have been upwards of like, I think over the month, $1 to $2 grand. And this is just, again, marketing expense, right? The big no-no is don't hire somebody who says they're gonna give you upvotes on Product Hunt. Like, it's kind of sus. Like if they do say that, that could be the value prop, but you need to ask them how they're doing it. And they need to say, oh, we're a marketing agency that can drive attention to things such as Product Hunt. That's okay. Again, this worked well for us, but a lot of these agencies get blocked and scam, because they have the same people, that they actually just have their own network of people upvoting, and they're not doing it well. So yeah, and if you do hire an agency to help, you want to pay them for outcome. So you want to say, I'm not paying you for upvotes, I'm paying you if this gets product of the day. So I'll give you $500 if we launch and you help. I'll give you $2 grand if we get product of the week. I'll give you $10K if we get product of the year. Like that's how you pay them, outcome based. So and here's like, okay, so here's the final point. Like, you know, after you get a bunch of, you've done well, you've launched. This is a thing that I think we messed up. So it's like a big learning. Was once you're on Product Hunt and you have like product of the month, you have this thing that is just out there now for years. Like we launched in 2021, I think it's February 8th. And I'm still getting DMs every couple weeks about people complaining that the product needs something or isn't working now. And it's like, I stopped working on this like 2 years ago. Like, and so what happens is the upvotes, we went from a 5-star to a 4-star because we stopped maintaining the product. That I regret, because now like there's this evergreen content where you're like, we have like #1, like we did all this good stuff, and then people go look at it and like the top comments right now are people complaining that like the text to speech isn't working. And it's just because I haven't looked at it for like I've stopped doing this. But like I would keep that in mind, that you're actually gonna be just on Product Hunt for a long time, and like you could probably hire somebody to just like casually maintain it. Like don't ship a thing that gets product of the month and then pivot, or you're gonna have just like your inbox full of DMs being like, whoa, like you're not, like people are actually kind of personal. It's really funny. Like they get personally offended that you got #1, and I think it's because they're like jealous that you beat their product somehow. Because like think about it, there's like 1,000 products launched in a month, and you beat all those people, and then you pivot, and like you got all these founders that are like, yo, you didn't even have the conviction to continue on your thing. I'm like, bro, like yeah. So anyway, those are like kind of my tips. It's actually annoying. Like I literally got a DM about this a week ago. So like it's 3 years later. So that's why I'm saying like keep it in mind, because it's kind of, that is like you're like slowly decreasing the like value of the launch. It's like having people just on your ass. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful. I'm happy to answer any questions. Yeah.
I have 2 questions.
Yeah, what's up?
First question was, you said midnight. Which midnight? Wednesday to Thursday midnight or Tuesday to Wednesday midnight?
Tuesday to
Tuesday to Wednesday.
Tuesday to Wednesday, yeah. Do you want Wednesday, the day of Wednesday?
Yeah,
Is
that's
the day that your product is
out. What's
yeah.
up the original?
Yeah, so it's at 12:15 a.m. on Wednesday.
And second
Yes,
question is, what benefit did you have right now? Did you say you was the product of the month, but you pivoted, and now you have a lot of overhead because there are plenty of DMs and people are getting personal.
Well,
Like at the end of, did you get anything out of it, or was it just like, yeah, I got the product of the month and that's it?
yeah, I haven't had to have a job in years because I've paid all my income with like SaaS I built while backpacking in Mexico during COVID. Yeah, yeah, so it's paid off hugely. Like we paid a few K, right? Right, the few K we had was from Bitcoin. We paid for that, and then we made over 50K. And it's also a huge credibility boost, yeah, because you can say, hey, do you know how to build a product? And you're like, yeah, I beat 10,000 launches this year. Here's like one of the best product sites saying that our product was the best. It actually led to enterprise sales in my next company, Banana, because we started saying like, oh, I'm here to help you on your text-to-speech product. I actually have one of the best text-to-speech products on the market. It's like salesy, like it's marketing. It's like
It's reputation.
doesn't matter a lot, but it actually does. Like yeah, it builds cred. It's kind of cool. Yeah. So and now I'm noticing that like I go look back and I'm like, it doesn't look the same. Like the listing has been affected because it doesn't look as nice as it did on the day one. Like the first few comments are like complaints, whereas that was not the case for the first 10 months because we actually maintained it the whole year. Like we wanted to get product of the year, so we like did that, and then afterwards it's like, you know, the co-founder and I moved in different directions, like all that stuff. But yeah, and then it's like it's more just like having some way to maintain it. I think like I left the project first and he pivoted around, and if I went back I would have been like, oh, maintain this, like and hire. I think we could have hired some dev person, like some marketing person for 1K a month who could have 10x the product. I actually had my friend who was our first customer said that you guys are being, I think he quoted me, said you guys are being really dumb and naive to not push marketing on this. So he made a literal, we said, we'll give you the code, you want to make a direct competitor? And he made this thing called listening.com that's now doing hundreds of thousands per month in revenue.
Based on
Per month, he's doing millions a year in revenue. And he just literally was like, I was your first customer, you guys are being dumb to pivot off this, you guys just don't get along. I'm gonna go do literally this. And I'm like, it won't work. And he's like, I'm gonna do it for PDFs. And I'm like, PDFs are awful, no one reads these. And now he's doing literally like, he's like 10x more revenue on like a business than I did on this project. Yeah.
The difference there was the marketing.
Yeah, purely marketing. And yeah, I'd encourage you to check out listening.com. It's like this is like the modern version of this. But he literally took the exact same thing as the customer and was like, I will do exactly this for PDFs. And then he just head down on it for a year, hired the marketing properly, and is like, he's just growing rapidly. Yeah.
Can I get the two main things that I got from you was release date that you choose between Monday and Wednesday, depends how far you are.
Yeah.
And the second of all, what is important, like to get good rankings, is marketing. Would you pay and get good marketing?
Yeah, the marketing really matters. Yeah. So it's like there's the product angle, there's the it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it all matters. But I'm trying to point out we got almost product of the year. We had number one of the month, day, week, and then we got to like, I think my co-founder, once I had left, he continued to grow it. I think he was 5-digit MRR, like he was pretty good, like kept chugging. But then yeah, we had this friend who was literally like, y'all are just too technical and not doing the marketing right. And I'm like, bullshit, I'm good at this. And then he went and just literally 30x the monthly revenue, like balling out with money. And I'm like, oh my God, how dumb is that? So now when I see a bunch of products, I'm like very skeptical. Like when I see a product making 5K MRR, I'm like, this could be a 500K MRR business if you put my friend Derek running the marketing. And so like, keep that in mind now. Like don't just assume like, oh, my product's not good. Like you think of like, what is the best marketer you know on your product, and they could probably 10x it. And there's a bunch of people here that I won't say names, but there's like a number of founders I meet that like build good stuff. And I'm like, you could be making 100K a month and it's just the marketing. Like you already have the code, like you could outsource some really basic devs to like maintain on it. But like you've already got the idea, you're the right person for it. So yeah. Cool, what's up?
Can you talk about 12:30 a.m. to 8 a.m.? Like,
Yeah.
did you stay up all night?
Yeah, it's pulled an all-nighter. That was just kind of like a vibe. Like you don't technically have to, but like we just like.
What were you getting lunch with? You said everyone was asleep.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah. Again, that was just kind of like it was probably just coke for like wanting to feel like we did the best we could, because I didn't want to get second and think I could have stayed up longer. And we were all living together in Mexico, doing our different companies, right? So we were like, let's just like grind this out. What we did is like, again, you start with India, start with the people that are waking up then, and you have these different cycles where we started DMing on LinkedIn, hitting up Reddit. We hired this agency. We hired the agency closer to the morning. It was around 5 a.m. because we were quickly like, we need more firepower to like make this happen. And then I talked with, actually it was the guy that I'm telling you about, Derek Penkov, who runs Listening, who was like, y'all need to work with an agency, like you need to market. And I'm like, fine, bro. And then he's like, yeah, just pay the 2K, like hire somebody that can help you market. You guys suck at this. And we're like, fine. And then again, we got product of the day and week because of him. So I'm basically giving a big like shout out to him. But like, yeah, like I don't think we would have even done that if we didn't put the firepower in, share it around. We were really up, like posting everywhere we could.
Where did you
hire
hire the
people.
marketing agency?
Pardon?
Where did you hire the marketing
It was through intros. So it wasn't like it was through, he introed me to a couple people we talked with. I'm happy to connect. I can't think of anyone in recent
Not
terms.
through Fiverr or something.
No, you don't want like public facing because those people, yeah, you don't want to go to like, oh, buy 100 upvotes for whatever. You want intro networks, you want people that are like growth experts. Like you probably all know at least one person who's like that growth hacker type guy that like, guy or girl that is just like really thinking about how to like, I don't know, like I personally suck at this, but I'm showing you that even despite being really not good at this skill, we were able to do well because like we just executed on a few things right, paid for the consulting. So yeah. What's up?
Question around pricing model.
Yeah.
If you launch on product hunt, consumers are using it, so it's to consumer, but it's also to B2B for the product. So how were you doing? Like, how much deliberation did you have on pricing?
On price, you mean pricing for consumer versus B2B? Yeah, so like, I think we were lucky that when we launched, it was a consumer product. Like, the B2B thing I was giving was an example of like, you could do a B2B launch with the same way. You build a little demo product that brings attention to your B2B. I don't think I'm as experienced enough to like talk about pricing. Like, I think there's probably a lot of better founders there for that. But like, we looked at what is the cost of 50K people coming through our site. That's important. So like, the insight I'll give is then again that like most people comment and like your post but don't even engage with it yet. So if you have a really compelling thing of why this is useful and they leave being like, I will use this, they put it in the backlog and they share it, that's actually the best thing. Like, so for text to speech, it costs like $1 to generate an article. The wrong approach would have been to say, come to our landing page, put in a URL and we'll generate the audio, because most people won't stick there for 3 minutes to wait for it. It'll actually give them a worse impression because they're like, oh, it's too slow, and like now you're stuck building out this like pipeline when you haven't validated the demand, which is like, do people just want the thing? So we just put a couple audio examples saying, here's what it sounds like, it does work, here's the expectations. Like, we actually had to improve that a lot later on, but we tried to make it as cheap as possible. I think, and then how were people paying? I'm trying to remember too. We pivoted around our pricing model a lot. I think early on it was like, you get a couple free credits. If you make an account, you get 1 hour of audio. We're charging per hour, and then you start paying for credits. And then my co-founder pivoted to more of the Audible approach. Like, so it's different. This is like now startup, like you know, whatever playbook for how to price. But the big thing was just like not costing $1 per hit on your landing page, because it actually doesn't matter to your launch. You can get 100K people to show up, and I've noticed, yeah, it's like the dirty secret is that most people shill your product for you and they've never used it. And equivalently, people shit talk your product who have never used it. And this is like consistent with Banana, like every product I've done, this is the case. There's a lot of people that are like, I love your product. And I'm like, it is ass. Like, our product's not working yet. And they're like, you clearly haven't used it because you think it's good. Or they're like, your product's garbage. And I'm like, bro, like we got like enterprise traction. Like, what are you talking about? Like, so, yeah. Cool, what's up?
Do you think you
Last question.
Last question.
do you think you wouldn't be where you are today with your SaaS if you launched gradually?
What do you mean by gradual?
I guess I'm not too familiar with Product Hunt. I've been on it a few times, but maybe if you launched it and tinkered with it and didn't push the algorithm as much, if you were trying to post it at 12 on Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever, and you tinkered with it, edited it, got feedback, and maybe just gradually invited people to come in.
Yeah, I don't think we would have done it. It's a game. It's what is it called? It's a Moloch, I think, in like game theory it'd be called, where it's like nobody wants to pull an all-nighter to do this, but you realize the people that are gonna win are doing it, and so you're almost forced into this like competitive state where you have to compete like others are doing. You need to know these things because again, like others will launch, they'll have likes. I told you how like the newsletter is sent out. There's probably worlds where like say you launch something, you didn't do anything, and then Elon retweets you at like 2 p.m. Like sure, like this can happen, but like I'm trying to more explain how to do it consistently versus by luck. I think the thing I've pitched is like if I could have like a prediction market, if I could put a bet on your product, you followed all this advice, I would bet like 50% of like I put in like a grand bet that only this will work and cover like half the expense for the upside because I'm just like pretty convinced this is the way to go. Yeah, cool, thanks.
Okay. Can we get the director going?
Yeah, for sure.
Alright, so.
Howard.
I'll do it.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're live.
Should I bring something to drink?
Yeah, just make sure it doesn't blow out. It's running low on battery.
What do you need?
No, I'm gonna go up there, thank you.
Do something.
Yeah, vertical.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Cool.
What a legend, just like that.
You were like a legend, like a month ago. Yeah, I remember.
All right. Settle down, friends. Hello. My name's Alex. For those who don't know me, I love going to AGI House, Hackathons, lived in SF for about a year now. Kind of one thing people don't know about me, so full-time I'm the founder of Agent Ops. We do observability, testing, and benchmarking for AI agents, but I also post a lot on social media. So it's my Twitter account. I have 21.1K followers. I think it's grown about like 15K followers over the past year, or actually way more than that, probably like 20,000. And I'm gonna tell you all the secrets on how to grow accounts on the internet. So just to rewind though, before I was big on Twitter, I had a very big TikTok channel. So I think cumulatively I had like somewhere between 3 and 5 million channel views on TikTok. And I can kind of go into how that happens. But kind of like first thing going is the best way to grow on social media is just posting fundamentally valuable content. Like there's just like no shortcuts around this. Just post things that people are genuinely interested in. And usually like if you're genuinely interested in something, someone else is going to be also. Like the niche that I was super interested in is like going to hackathons. I go like almost every single weekend here. And I would just post recap threads like, hey, here are the demos I saw at the hackathons, really cool ideas. Actually, this was an inspiration from Swix, who was doing this for a handful of things. So I did this myself too. So yeah, anyway, like these threads would get like somewhere between like 100K and like 5 million views. So here's some of the bangers I posted. So this one, went to Tree Hacks, it's got like 5.5 million views. Just like went to the convention uninvited and just started filming people. Yeah, I mean, like, here's the thing, like, it's like, there's kind of like a social barrier, which is like recording things or like speaking your own mind. You just have to kind of like go past that and
This
learn.
is Twitter right now.
This
yes?
is Twitter, yeah. Also, like, I think like one thing that works really well is don't be afraid to be like your true authentic self and like letting edgy feelings leak. So like, I posted this banger and I got a lot of hate. Like everybody on Blind started sharing it. Because, you know, they have shallow, you know, fragile egos. And anyway, so yeah, anyway, and like probably one of the most controversial one people here are familiar with is this post. So AGI House SF hosted this pre-New New Year's Eve party at the house, and I posted like the demos. It got, I don't know if you can see it, 3.7 million views. It got a ton of engagement, a lot of hate. Paul Graham and Gary Chan were talking about it, some big accounts. Somebody said, this is why the terrorists hate us. There's like a lot of hate. And honestly, like that's actually kind of one thing you learn is engagement from like hate actually drives a lot of brand value. So I'm just kind of rewinding to this thing. So this TikTok channel, cities that I think are overrated. I put Barcelona as #1 most overrated city,
Whoa.
and that that everyone was fuming in the chat about that one. And then, and like it just this kind of stuff. Like, these are opinions I genuinely hold. Like I think it's an overrated city, and I'm just like willing to post it, and people engage with me. So you get numbers off of that kind of stuff. So yeah. Anyway, just kind of like broadly speaking though, like why would you want to engage with Twitter in the first place? There's this great ebook. I'll share it with you guys later. It's on how to post on Twitter by Brett Goldstein. He also has a pretty big account. And basically, like Twitter is like this like invisible college where it's like just a community of people, like, and we engage with each other, like even though there's like no specific campus. So that could be like AGI House specific, or as a place, but like also like Twitter itself is kind of like an invisible campus. You can just like talk and reach out to anyone, provided that you provide value. Anyway, so like what does this kind of like translate into? Monetarily wise, their earnings are like pretty low. I think I've made like a few $100s, like maybe 500 total. No, probably less, like maybe 300, just from ad revenue. So I pay for Twitter Premium. It's supposed to give you a boost, like, but it's like you don't really know how much of a boost it gives you. But I did make like a lot of really great connections. So like when we were fundraising, it was a breeze because everyone's like, oh, you're a massive account, you're just gonna have like immediate distribution. We had some angel investors who also had big accounts that recognized that and just wrote us checks because of that. Anyway, so like suppose anyone here wants to go viral. I really recommend the strategy that I coined, MVP. MVP. Anybody know what MVP stands for? Startup Lands, minimum viable product. Minimum viable posts. So what you need to do, and like it's just a really, really fucking hard commitment. All right, everyone flakes. I promise you. Like anyone who says, "Oh, I'll do it," they just don't do it. Your goal is to post one thing a day, every single day, on your platform of choice. It could be Twitter, it could be TikTok, it could be like Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever. Just post every single day, and what you end up with is like all these failures. So like this is the TikTok channel. So here are the bangers, right? Everything else, like they got like modest views. Like a lot of them were like below like 300 views. And what you learn by posting every single day is like the algorithm rewards creators because most people on the internet are just total lurkers. It's so much effort to put content out there. Like it's an enormous amount of effort. And they're trying to reward you. They're trying to get you to post more stuff. But what you learn more than anything else, other than the algorithm, is you learn what content works. Like for me, I learned the content that works was like basically baiting people. Not being too serious about it, but like making listicles is like just kind of one of the things I learned. Like, oh, if you rank cities, people are gonna like feel defensive about it or proud about it. And it turns out like I would not have known that niche unless I had actually just thrown a ton of content out there before that. Anyway, so how do you make MVPs? Honestly, there's no specific way. Just fucking do it. Like, don't be lazy. One way to not be lazy is creating accountability groups. So, so we have this accountability group on WhatsApp called Minimum Viable Posters. A few people here are actually kind of like Cerebral Valley legends. So like Ivan's one of the founders of Cerebral Valley. Erica Bricky, like incredible account. And basically what we did is like for a month straight, everybody in this group, it was like sort of like 15 people, and we, attrition down to this much. Basically the law was you have to post once a day, every single day, or you get kicked out, no exceptions. Yeah, and like we were brutal about it, and people were like, "No, you're being such a jerk. Let me back in." And like, "No, you didn't post. You don't get to go back in." And like obviously, like I was like, if you really care about it, you'll keep posting anyway, and they just don't post. So like it's obvious that like selection, like they select themselves out. Anyway, TLDR. Just in general, like just create great content, and like that's how you go viral in general. Like I think Mr. Beast said this. Like algorithm is audience. Just like make sure you're creating audience that is like fundamentally interested in what you're doing. Consistency is probably the most important secondary factor, which is like a lot of people like they're so busy crafting their magnum opus that they spend 6 months in the code dungeon, and then it's just like falls to false. It just there's like nobody's there to listen because they don't really care. So really just like posting consistency, being top of everyone's mind is just a great way to like grow. I was gonna say, there's like a lot of smaller hints, which is like social media in general, like rewards, like create great content and then share that with people who have bigger accounts or just like engage with them. They'll see your content and then they'll share that themselves. And that's how you get more eyeballs. Yeah, being authentic. I think this is like really hard. I think courage is in shorter supply than talent. So you know, a lot of people like they want to seem like, oh, I work so hard to get this thing done. It's like no, like we all struggle, and people really value authenticity. So don't be afraid to kind of like show the darker sides of yourself, the edgier sides, like the the parts where you're eating shit. Like people really do care about that. Also, like when you're building a following, just like DM people. They call it carrots. Like you give a horse a carrot, like, and it helps like kind of like maintain these connections. Like reply to people, like show that you actually care. Like not in a sociopathic way, just like you're really trying to build yourself a community. Well, I mean, some people are like very sociopathic about this, by the way. But like really like try to engage with people that who are going to like help you grow personally, and it's mutually beneficial. And oh yeah, like very minor things like pinning your top performing posts. Yeah, that's it. I'm happy to answer any questions. Yeah.
My biggest question with this is always like, how do you, I don't know how to phrase this, but how do you like engage in Twitter and pretty much any social media without like slowly becoming like brain rot?
Yeah, this is really hard actually. I remember I like went to a similar talk to this before like I figured it out, and like I asked the same thing like, it looks like you're on Twitter all day long.
Yeah.
And I think he intentionally skipped that question because I think he might be. And honestly, like I spent like way too much time on it. So like one thing, okay, here's kind of like one way to like do it. So I have this friend, he has a TikTok channel called Official. So basically, he made this like dating app, and like it wasn't an app for finding dates. It was an app for like once you're dating, like you make dates together, like you're planning things out, send virtual hugs, this kind of stuff. And he basically grew all of his audience on TikTok. And I'm like, man, like you're posting every single day. How do you have the energy for this? And like the one way you do it is like you just basically you would say like I'd spend the entire Saturday just filming content and then spread it out throughout the week. My co-founder Adam, so we've been doing this actually with like a lot of agent developers in the ecosystem. We'd like get them to come to our office, we'll just like do a Zoom chat with them, and we'll record like an hour or 2 hours of content and just split it up into 15-second segments and then post it on LinkedIn once a day every day. So it's like really like 2 hours worth of work, and then you can just like spread it out throughout time. And that way like you don't have to like worry about too much of like the like, oh, I'm like on Twitter and like, oh, there's more information coming up to be like, on the spot. Just like queuing things up really helps. So honestly, I don't think there's like a great answer to your question, but I think queuing up content is like very underrated. Yeah.
I'm curious if you've gotten like vulnerability fatigue or like exhaustion from people anchoring to previous opinions you put online. Like you basically have a very large online identity with like an asymmetry where like a million people know more about you than you know about them. Like has that affected your like energy or relationships? Because that's my main hesitation from doing this.
Well, like sometimes I go to parties or events and everyone like recognizes me and like I'm like a little forgetful, so like I just don't know who they are, and that's kind of awkward. But like I guess like kind of like reverse parasocial relationships, or I don't know, man. Like I never had that problem.
Because nobody's like come up to you like months later being like, yeah, I can't be your friend because you're only Barcelona.
No, well, I think okay. Well, the thing about being authentic is that like if you can't be happy with your own decisions, like you're just not gonna be a happy person, and like these people just don't belong in your life. So like leave them out. Yeah, be your true self. Yeah.
Oh, I also noticed that some of your posts has really good like beginning first couple of lines.
Yeah.
It's very like eye-catching.
Yeah,
So it could be like sometimes also controversial a bit. I'm curious how you think about crafting those and what you're saying.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, so just like for the like the TLDR stuff, like there's a million different like micro optimizations I've like glossed over. And they've kind of become like part and parcel of like the way I think about things. Like one like really random example is like bookmarking your own posts to actually boost them, like ever so slightly. Also posting media boosts your posts ever so slightly. Also mixed media, images and video, but that's only possible if you post from iPhone. It's not possible with Typefully or in these APIs, and it's not possible from the web. So like it's just like random things. Like posting from iPhone gives you much bigger boosts. But yeah, like workshopping like tweets is very much,
Well, there's an out tweet and style from, right?
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
like subtle, like misleading the reader.
Yeah.
And they realize they've been lied to, but in a good way.
I think there's like, I do a little bit, I bait a little
It's not
bit, right?
because you baited. Yeah.
I do bait. Like, you know, let's kind of break down one of these posts, right?
Yeah, like the party. This is a party.
Yeah, okay.
That's a lot.
A
Yeah.
pre-New Year's Eve party. So it's like ambiguous. Like, is this on New Year's Eve? Like, it's posted on New Year's Eve, right? Like, but it was December 30th. So like, it's a little baity, right? I wasn't intending it for it to be that way, but it just so happened that it worked out.
Yeah, like you're not explicitly lying. It's just. Like,
Yeah, also like they were intense. Like
Yeah.
it was not that intense. Like it's like AGI House is super chill. Like but you know, you're intense in some degree, right? Like people who are wicked smart. So
Yeah,
I'd say
yeah.
that's intense. Like I'm not like trying to deliberately like mislead people, but I
Oh, so
do
it
think
wasn't
like
a party is the part that I was.
Yeah.
It was definitely like a hackathon.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think we called it a hack night.
Hacknet, yeah.
Hack night.
Yeah.
Was it a yeah, I mean I didn't even say hackathon.
It is a party anyway, so.
Yeah, I mean, for some people might have thought it was a party.
Yeah.
When people invite me to clubs, I always think chess clubs and.
So like a lot of the hate was driven by misunderstanding, in my opinion, and this was like important.
Yeah, which is good, right? Like the hate contributed to the virality.
But it's all funny, like looking back. I guess we're all past that, so I think no one cares about the hate part anymore.
No, yeah, the polarization contributed, right, to what made it go so big.
Yeah. I don't know. Howard.
Well, one I want to point out, like, if you post a lot about like tagging other people, and so like it makes that very easy to share.
Mm.
Or if you like take the good picture that like 20 people were at an event, they're gonna share yours, right? Your post because they were there.
Yeah.
And then two, did you say the algorithm was open source?
Yeah, they have the algorithm is open source on Twitter, but like it's still like kind of black boxy because it's a machine learning model. So, but there's like little like coefficient modifiers, like posting media gives you like a 1.2% boost, something like that. Micro optimizations. It really does. Honestly, posting great content is like the best way to optimize. Like, don't even think too hard about it. Also, like the tagging people thing, it's like that was because I was trying to give people credit. It just so happens it has the side effect of like, oh, they'll retweet your content because they're trying to tag themselves, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Does retweets help or matter, or do you bother with that, or are they just as good as writing your own?
Like retweeting other people's stuff. I don't know. Yeah, actually, I don't know. Well, quote tweets, I think is like independent. Yeah, I think that gives like independent engagement. I honestly don't know. Yeah.
Does time of day matter?
Yeah, I think it does, but okay, so like I posted threads at like 3 in the morning.
Yeah,
Just, like,
yeah.
I wake up and there's like 2 million views. I'm like, what's going on? So, oh yeah, 3 in the morning. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
I think there's like this weird effect where like the Europeans wake up and they check Twitter, and like a lot of people from Africa also like check Twitter. Like I don't know. I just posted that random parts of the day. Like okay, so there's this book, this ebook by Brett. Let's see here. It's like 40 pages, and he has like some micro optimizations in here.
This is fun.
Yeah, this deck is amazing. Yeah, when's the tweet? 8:15 a.m. PST. I don't know if that's like true, but like again, like I think if you're posting great content, it doesn't really matter to begin with. Just you know, yeah.
Do you have any specific recs for this launch-a-thon for people launching on Twitter?
Yeah. Make sure you have a Twitter. That's probably the first part. I'd say just like filming things in general. Nobody's doing it. Like just take a lot of photos. Yeah, like for example, I'm having like Howard live stream right now on Twitter.
307 people.
Yeah, 307 people
what?
is like.
Really?
Hello, 307 people. What's up? Honestly, just like funny moment, just like say like, oh, this guy's double fisting LaCroix, or like this like kind of stuff happens at hackathons. It's really interesting to most of the world. For us, it's like pretty like anodyne, but like, yeah, really sharing yourself, building a public. I think that has like an air of authenticity to it, and people just really truly do value being when you're your true self. So, yeah, yeah.
Do you only use Twitter or do you use TikTok and Instagram as well? And do you use platforms that distribute it on those platforms?
So my main platform is Twitter. My Instagram's private. TikTok was like, okay, so the reason why I was doing TikTok, and you might notice like the content is like a lot different. It was like travel content. So before I was an AI founder, I was founding a different startup. So I was building like a travel consumer fintech product. So I carry it with me all the time as a reminder. I was building a credit card. And the idea behind this credit card is like, if you ever travel to Europe, you actually, as a tourist, don't have to pay VAT. It's like a sales tax. And it's like 20% in a lot of countries. So we'd like automatically refund it. It was a pretty neat idea, but consumer is insane because like you need just great marketing. And I realized like the thing I was deficient in was like great marketing. So I just started like trying to figure out like, okay, how can I make video content that promotes my product? And I had a few videos on here like how to spend money overseas, like how to not get scammed, that kind of stuff. And then like the thing that really popped off was pissing people off, but this is kind of like the origin story. Yeah. Other platforms. I know there's like a lot of people do like kind of downstream posting. My co-founder's been like encouraging me to post this stuff on LinkedIn, but it's just like I don't know. Like it's too cringe for me. I think we're gonna get like way more like eyeballs just by doing that, but like I just haven't had the emotional energy to do so. I think people like okay. One thing that really matters a lot is having like static content. Like we were at a meetup the other day. We were hosting this meetup actually at our place for agent developers, and the guys from Sweep.dev were there, and they had published a blog post about like I don't know syntax highlighting or something like that. And everyone in that room had read that, and they'd known about Sweep before they even came into the room. And they're like, "Oh wow, you're a celebrity! You wrote this amazing blog post." So like posting just like good static content on the internet, having it out there, people do end up reading it, and it kind of builds like credibility and rapport that goes beyond like the metrics. So, just some thoughts.
Do you use any plugins for any like seeing engagements and like managing?
No. No. Twitter analytics sucks. By the way, if anybody works at Twitter, please, I'm begging you, please fix all the bugs in the app. It's horrible. It's not gonna happen though. Yeah.
What's the etiquette around like posting a photo at an event? You just sort of assume it's like open season at a hackathon, or how do you like think about that?
I'm sure there's like some sort of California laws I'm breaking, but I don't know, man. Like just like I mean. Just be cool, I guess. Like, if you're like filming people like doing things that like they don't want to be filmed doing, like then don't film them. Just it requires some intuition, I suppose. So, yeah.
Are you using hashtags and stuff like that, or not?
Oh, okay. Don't use hashtags. Yeah, they penalize you for that. Okay. But actually, that's not true because your co-founder, the Reworks co-founder asked him like. Posted a like a really viral video of like an AutoGPT UI wrapper, and it got like 3 million views, and they had a hashtag.
Yeah,
so
that's
like,
what I'm about to talk about next. Right?
Yeah. Anyway, I don't think it matters that much, but like generally speaking, people think hashtags are kind of cringe. So you know, just play it by ear. It's like again, like the number one thing is like just posting consistently with your MVP. Is the best way to learn what does and what doesn't work. So maybe hashtags actually do work. I don't know. But like you're not gonna find that out until you post something with a hashtag and see whether the numbers go up or down. So you have to kind of like be glued to your analytics and just try new things. Multi-armed bandit problem. Anyone, you know, the RL world.
Final question, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you still have accountability group?
Yes.
Can I join? If not, we can
create one with the same rule.
I'm super down to do that. If anybody wants to join, let's do it. I'm just gonna be like, look, if you don't post, you're out. Like that's it. 30 days straight, only posting. Yeah.
Every day, or you're out.
You post or you go to the shadow realm. Like that's how it is. So, all right, cool. Thanks for listening.
Good talk. Thank you.
Still falling out.
Still people.
Stop broadcast.
Great. So we have Rohan on GitHub.
Yeah. So hey guys. So I'm probably gonna be talking about GitHub for most of this. I work at Reworks. I'm founding engineer here. So and originally we launched AgentGPT. I wasn't super involved with AgentGPT, but I've worked with these guys for the last 10 months. So through them, I've sort of heard the stories of how we got to like 30K stars on GitHub. and like scale to like 6-digit MRR at the peak virality of like agent hype in like June, July of last year. So with AgentGPT, I mean, Alex already talked a lot about Twitter stuff. We also hugely sort of benefited from launching on Twitter. But I think another like big part of like launching successful open source projects is like good GitHub readmes. So having like a graphic at the top of your GitHub just makes it way better than if it's just like plain text, right? So this video no longer works, it seems like, but like there was plenty of multimedia content up here, and that makes it just way more engaging for people arriving and to actually understand what's going on, right? They see the video, they see the demo, etc. And then they can also click through, right? These aren't just like random hyperlinks interspersed in here, though there are hyperlinks as well. But you have this like series of links over at the top. It's just a very engaging kind of README. So we use the same kind of like README template on some of our other projects. So yeah, with Tarsier, there's like a link over to the PyPy package over here. And then the actual site to like get converting users into our platform. Twitter, like this actually links to the Twitter thread, so everything sort of funnels back to the original launch post over here, and then joining our Discord for community building as well. And you can see over here we've also included this kind of video demo. I think this one only has like 460 stars. It did like 300 stars in the first day or something, but I think it would have done even better if we did like a show HN or something. We just only ended up launching on Twitter for whatever reason. And then I guess like another like just showing that like we've sort of done this multiple times. This one scaled to like 600 stars in the first day, and now it's sitting at a bit over 800. And same exact kind of README. The sticker over here is like generated by DALL-E 3. The way you like the prompting for getting like nice GitHub stickers, nice README stickers is also kind of weird. Like we basically started asking it for like I keep saying stickers because like it's not just any graphic. Usually like if it looks like a sticker, it's like especially nice. But you can put whatever you want on there. And I guess just keeping this super short. The other guys have way much more alpha than me. All you guys have to do is like come to Llama Gym or like the AgentGPT repo or whatever, and then come and like you can literally just copy our README template from the top. So hopefully if you guys are doing GitHub launch or any other kind of open source project, feel free to grab that template from us. That's it, guys. Any questions?
How do you stickerify the DALL-E?
You literally just ask for like in a sticker style, sticker style graphic. Yeah.
So you mentioned about stars. How do you grow the contributors? Do you have any strategy?
Yeah, I think it's like for Llama Gym, I haven't explicitly gone and tried to like do more community outreach and whatnot because I don't want to spend too much time with maintenance. With AgentGPT, I think a lot of the PRs just started sort of pouring in, and the team started putting out more and more tweets just like on new features that they were adding, like bug fixes, etc. So just like continually engaging the community and whatnot is like the main strategy for that.
I saw one repo that does like a contributor graph that we're gonna copy, and it's just like everyone's avatars at the bottom. And there's like I can send it to you. There's a website that like maintains that. You just give it your repo name and it'll update.
Do you guys have any like community calls regularly?
Yeah, I mean, so we used to like super maintain this Discord, like when it was like when AgentGPT was still sort of the main focus. Building out a community there definitely helps. I don't think we scheduled like regular calls at any point, but people would talk about bug fixes, adding new features, PRs, all in the Discord. So that definitely helped. Yeah, and I think I saw one last one.
When you get PRs, and do people have like a expectation that you're going to like maintain the project over time? It sounds like a lot of work if you do want to pivot or move on.
Yeah, I guess there's the thing with open source is that there's more of that expectation on the surface. Underlyingly, it is really just social expectation. There is no like if you build a closed source project and launch it, then it becomes an actual duty to sort of maintain that for anyone who's using it. Because if you just disappear, the code is gone, right? Whereas with open source, people can go and maintain it and fix it for themselves and whatnot. So I wouldn't say that's as big of a deal. Llama Gym, I'm not really maintaining it right now. There are like a couple PRs on there. Maybe I'll merge it, but like the code is out there that you guys can like anyone can fork it and build it out. It's like on their own. So yeah, thanks guys.
Okay. Huge thanks to all the speakers. That was super engaging and fascinating. So appreciate it. Here's the plan. We're gonna spend the next 3 to 4 hours crafting what we want to launch. Feel free to launch multiple things if you want. Feel free to launch one thing. If you're concerned about the state of your project, you can always mod the project in a subtle way to make it launchable. For example, if you're not ready for tons of users or for scale, create a waiting list and just create a really high quality video of whatever it is that you currently have. And we at 6 o'clock are going to reconvene here for what will be a shared launch process. Feel free to make requests. So, for example, if you want, interesting, deep technical comments on your Hacker News post, right when it's posted, request that, and during our demo period, people will be on their laptops, they can make the comments of interest. If you have a platform that you want to launch on that's not in the shortlist, feel free to launch on it, we'll figure it out. But I just wanted to ask, are there any questions about procedure? We'll have dinner come as well, about when we're launching 5:30, something like that. But any questions?
So should we already have like code and product ready and then just like do the launching process, which is like making a landing page, or are we actually hacking?
So it's up to you. If you want to finish or create a project, that's fine. If it's launch ready, then creating all of the high quality content, so making sure your video is beautiful, your images are great, is also part of the intention. So crafting all of the launch content. But I do expect there, for most projects, to be like some technical element that needs to be fixed or improved.
Yeah, so for me, like I have code ready, I can like do open source launch, but I also can put a login, because I don't have login, and like even a payment thing.
Yeah, your call. If you want to make money on the project, then, that sounds
I'm
like
also just curious, like,
a
what
great
are
idea.
people doing? Like, are people going to be adding login stuff? And like,
There's this amazing API that just came out called Cobble. It takes care of auth, payments, subscriptions, user management, and analytics. And I think the commission's only 10%.
and is it usage-based pricing?
It's just like 10% of every transaction goes to the platform, which is like inclusive of Stripe fees. So it's a really, I've used it before for like a ChatGPT plugin, and it's like one of the best like platforms I've ever used. So.
Can you drop that in Slack?
Yeah.
I'd love to try it. Okay. Going once, going twice.
Thank you.
All right, congrats everyone. Let the hackathon begin.
Sick talk, man.
Broke my tripod.
Wait, what?
The $1 TikTok.
Oh.